all of you risk takers and truth seekers, welcome to podcast Life, the battlefield, where we're exploring the horizons of the human endeavor, how to be happier, successful, what to do when we reach some obstacles, and how we can achieve the best of our lives. Today I have a privilege to interview a very young man who done so much in past 2 years, and I truly believe that his story will not just only inspire you, but you're gonna reach and ask him how he can help you. His name is Jake. Jake, welcome to Podcast Life, the Battlefield.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you, I really appreciate it. You're gonna give the later on the review, you know.
Yeah,
you need to
of course.
put 500 friends, you need to go on Google review. I'm just joking.
Yeah, of course.
Jokes aside. So, Jake, first of all, thank you for coming on Saturday. Being on Saturday, that means that you are prepared to sacrifice your free time to do what you love most. And one of the things I noticed with you, you love podcasting. Now, tell us more, Doxcast. What is about? Why did you start it? For how long you're running? Be impressed, guys.
Okay, awesome. So I've just about hit 100 weeks in a row that I've been doing it for. I'm probably, at the time I'm recording this, I'm about 97 weeks so far. And I started it because as a young kid, I realized my favorite thing to do was sit around and talk shit with my mates. There was just no better feeling in life. Out of everything I was trying and doing and going out there, sitting around and having a laugh with the boys was number one. And I was also at a time where there was always parties Friday night, Saturday night. I was going clubbing and I would meet new people once a week, every week. And I thought, how can I get this to stay like this for the rest of my life? How can I grow old and not lose meeting people and making new friends every single week? And podcasting just seemed to be the best fit for that solution. So once a week, someone new comes over and I get to basically make a new friend and have a good conversation once a week.
You know, 97 episodes, it doesn't sound a lot for many people. It's just a 97. But for me, in my view, 97 times every Monday, it's consistency. It's a deliberate and purpose, sacrificing time, putting effort, and nobody can judge the effort. Nobody. That's why I'm congratulating you on that one, because for you to do week after week, into other people, it's consistency. That guarantee that you're going to stick with anybody, anytime, anyway, to be their friend, the best buddy, you know, show them when they're necessary. So that's a big statement, 97 times, you know what I mean? 97. So like, tell me something. Today, you are working night shifts.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's go start from the end, because everybody knows like, little Jack was born, like, you know what I mean? Rob couple banks, you know, all these things. So tell us from the end, what are you doing today apart of podcasting?
Outside of podcasting, so I'm working for a company as an employee. And my trade is refrigeration, air conditioning, and electrical as well. So I work for someone in the field of refrigeration. I try and do 38 hours a week. Sometimes they ask me to do closer to 55, 60 hours a week, but I try and do 38 hours a week. Yeah. And the best routine for me at the moment has been doing night shift for them. So when that opportunity is there, I take it every single week. Yeah. And outside of that, I'm running my own air conditioning business in the baby steps of trying to grow this into something where I can have employees and stuff. So that takes up that's pretty much all of my free time. Outside of working and podcasting, that's pretty much all the free time I've got.
Now, in your own words, when, you know, let's go now address this podcast so that everybody who wants to start a business, and as well somebody close to your age, right? I belong in the senior citizens, I'm 50 years old, so it's like for me it's dinosaurs, you know what I mean? We don't talk about this anymore. Internet is full of tips, advice, the gurus, you know what I mean? Everybody try to say what to do when you're 25 years old. But you're doing this on your own. So this is, as I said, like, you're not just a role model, you're a real model. You know, that's I like to people see in you. 25 years old, working night shift and try to run his own business. Why you're not millionaire? As everybody will say to you, you should be millionaire by now, age of 25.
It's not my turn yet. That's as simple as that. I will be. My time will come, but it's just not my turn. Yeah.
So what takes to work night shift?
What does it take? In the beginning, it just takes greed, to be honest, because there's more money.
Oh, really?
That's why I decided to do that in the first place. It also allowed lots of freedom and opportunity for me to have the free time in the day. You know, obviously sleep's important, but I can choose to sleep mornings or afternoons, depending on what I need to do during the day. And yeah, it takes a bit of greed in the first place, but it also takes a bit of experience. You have to be used to working hard because it does take a big toll if you're not used to it already, working night shift for sure.
Nights are not welcome. You know, I'll tell you this from my experience. I used to work in night shifts when I was in government, and all these interrogations, investigations during the war was okay. It was acceptable somehow. But when you're in a peaceful, quiet environment, you need to do your job during the night, and then in the morning you finish, and then the people from the day shift calls you home. It's like, why did you done this? Why did you done that? So greed is good. Would you agree with me? It's a good...
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think having greed is the only thing that necessarily will want to push people forward in the first place. Yeah, it's a feeling like I deserve more, but I have to go get it in the first place. That's why I deserve it. So I'm willing to go get it because I deserve it, and I deserve it because I'm willing to go get it.
So you're telling me nobody will give you nothing. You need to take it.
100%. 100%. I think you'll get opportunities, but you have to create your own opportunities. Nothing comes for free. You have to work to earn before you can get, you know, nothing will come on a plate.
Jake was not always Jake today, working night shift and then doing his business during the day and podcasting. Let's go wind half your age 12 or 13.
Yep.
What was the Jake look like then? And what your message would be somebody who is then now 13 years old and you're talking about yourself in those past times?
I think 12, 13 was I don't really think about 12, 13 too often, but I'd say it was a bit of a challenging time necessarily for me. I went from growing up public schooling with all my friends, grew up in the same area, Western Sydney, and then I was kind of falling off the wagon a little bit. My parents could see that I was starting to get into a bit more trouble with not just in school, but outside of school as well. So they pulled the pin and moved everyone to a private school, and they refinanced and did their best they could to try and get me and my siblings in. And I was definitely the reason and responsible asset to that. You know, They were really looking after me. And it was a challenging time, you know, new school, private, very Christian. Now I had to wear almost like tie.
Oh my God, that's...
Can
you imagine little Jake is like, what? Like, giving this out.
With the school hat and the school bag, school shoes. I couldn't believe it. It was a challenging time, but I found that I'm a bit of a chameleon, so I can kind of blend into my environment no matter where I go. And I was just, if I could tell myself anything back then, it'd be no one's actually caring, you know, to be honest. Like, even though your parents are caring, which is good, I was kind of worried what everyone thought all the time. I was worried about the lads at school, the girls at school, even the teachers at school. I was very worried, but truthfully, if I could go back, I'd tell myself, trust me, dude, no one cares. Do your best and what you want to be doing.
You know, that's a very powerful statement from somebody who is 25 years old, right? It's sort of vivid memories, you know what I mean? It's not like a million years ago, right? It's like 12, 13 years ago, that age you have been. And when you say nobody cares, that is a very interesting statement. Why you think nobody cares about nobody?
I think that it's only recently I've had this mindset where I'm obviously main character in my own world, you know?
Interesting. Let's continue.
I obviously am. But all of us, I feel like everyone has this at different moments in their life, but you have a bit of an epiphany where you realise everyone's the main character in their own world as well. So I kind of grew up thinking that everyone had an opinion on me, and and everyone was always, if I felt like I embarrassed myself, maybe people were thinking about it while I wasn't with them and things like that. And the truth is no one cares, and that's not a bad thing. I don't mean it as in woe is me, I wish people cared, because people are there when you need them to be. But when it doesn't matter, no one's thinking about you. Their life isn't affected by the choices and actions that you want to do personally in your own life. It took me a while to work that out. So I'd remind myself, or at least inform myself in the first place, that everyone's doing their own thing. You can focus on doing what you want to do without having to worry or even impress anyone else at the same time.
You know, I'm impressed by how you're talking to me. Seriously, how you are explaining to me your childhood, because everybody tries. You see, most of the people I'm interviewing in my podcast, Life the Battlefield, they will start the story how their life was not fair, mom and dad didn't love them, then you have the McDonald's, whatever, you know what I mean? Dude, we all living in the same life, you know what I mean? We all in the same planet. But you don't have that approach. You're actually encouraging people to take a bold step when you're 13, 14 years old, to understand that world doesn't care about you so much as you think it is, because you need to take care of yourself. So what was your downfall when you were in school, if I may ask you?
My downfall always happens in the same moment. I've gone through many downfalls in my life. And
if you can share, please.
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to. It always happens because of the same reason, and it's
Woman.
a girl. Every time.
Man, come to my world. You and Steve still laughing in the background there. So yeah, please.
Yeah, every time. Every time I it's either towards the end of a relationship that's going a bit toxic, or it's a relationship that's ended a bit more abruptly out of shock to me. It always results in me self-sabotaging. It's an unconscious decision that I might be doing, running from things or whatever the reason is, but it's only time will make me look back and realize, like, that hurt more than I thought it did, you know what I mean?
Look, I think that I say something because a little bit older than you. What I understood in world we're living, we're suffering. Okay, we're suffering. You know, everybody's suffering. And recently I was listening to somebody who's called Alan Watts. I'm inviting to find him on the internet. He's a 20th century philosopher from US. He's guy smart. He died, right? He was smoking like a chimney. Of course, he died. But he said that his research showed that people suffering because we're desiring far too much. We can't detach ourselves from things we love. For example, he make a story that he knew the girl. She got a live rabbit, and she loved him so much that she was squeezing him so much next to the body that actually she choked the rabbit. So we kill the things because we love them. We kill them with love. But the love hurts, relationship hurts. So we're doing stupid things. I mean, I can write another book about my stupidities. But what have you done when the woman will put you down? Did you go into gym, or did you do a different direction?
At different times I've done different things. So sometimes probably my first downward spiral of self-sabotage was definitely going out, partying, drugs, creating friends that I shouldn't have been creating with, kind of falling in love with the other side of the coin, you know. Instead of walking a straight and narrow line, it was more like, what can I do and get away with, you know?
Yes.
And I can't lie, I did have fun, but it's only a limited amount of time before things start to fall apart and you have a wake-up call, man. That's like, if I don't change my life, I'm going to either end up dead, jail, or in the side of a gutter. Like, there's only so much fun you can have if it's from the wrong substances and stuff like that.
Can I ask you something? Now, let's go related to the girl you obviously break up, right? And she, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's all about attraction, seduction, and destruction. That's the 3 steps in a relationship. Anyone.
I love that. Yeah.
It is. There's no other way, you know what I mean? Because most of the people don't survive the marriages, you know what I mean, and then don't survive the relationships. You know, I have the list, you know what I mean, like. But when you decided to go that path, being hurt, emotionally, and then you started drugs, alcohol, wrong crowd. Is the other party, I mean that girl, did she saw you suffering, or she was laughing to you, or did you see like, what I'm doing to myself? She has a good time, and I'm here, killing myself. Did you ever have that thoughts?
I'd say I probably did. I remember it was almost, I wouldn't say it was a cry for help, but it was almost like, I'd say at the time, because it's not like I made my decisions to self-sabotage. I was more looking for things to make me feel better, have fun, And I think because I didn't have a purpose or a plan in which I wanted, like originally when you're with a partner, you plan a future around that partner. And then when you break up, all of a sudden your entire future just evaporates. So without a purpose, I always find in my own life that I'm almost destructive. Like I need something to focus on and look forward to. Otherwise, things just start to pop up, and I'm just saying yes to any temptation that comes my way. And there was definitely moments where I wanted to try and make it look like I'm showing off, whether it be online posts or whether it be, involving myself with people in her life on purpose. And I guess without intention, looking back, I was kind of thinking, I wonder what she's thinking about the life I'm living, whether it be I feel pity or whether it be I feel jealous or things like that. But I would definitely have been trying to create some kind of interaction from her,
See, I truly believe that this conversation with me, you saying these things to me, it's going to save many lives to the many boys, because it's a tendency us men to become destructive. I'm telling you from my experience. Every time when I break up, first I will do cry me a river story. I will beg, I will, scratch the doors, let me in, all this, metaphorically speaking, right? And I'll find out that she already had somebody else in her life, right? And then what I will do as a man, I will then rush into some relationship, which is even worse than before one, because I just want to show off. It's hard to learn the lessons because you're repeating them all the time. Sometimes we need to hit hard. And obviously you did, because you start doing the drugs. So guys, those who want to talk to the Jake, I'm going to put his details in comment section below. Reach to him. I truly believe that all of you who are experiencing some type of setback, he can give you his advice. Because it's normal that people fail. You felt, and you have the courage today. You have the courage to share this with most of the guys, because most of the guys this morning wake up miserable, and first thing what they do is go on the internet. Oh, well, she's there last night. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as you said, for anyone who does even need any form of advice in that regard, I'm always there. For every negative experience I've gone through, I actually try my best to look at it from a positive lens of, because I've gone through it now, it's now my responsibility to be there for someone when they go through it, So, as you said,
it's so mature, so mature, man. Yeah, that's what makes you unique. And that's just like, when I stalk you, you stalk me, and we have the common friend in our now network, what's it called, Jessica Wallace. I'm hoping you're watching this. It's your fault, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
But as I was watching your interview with her, and I said to myself, this young man is truly something, because everybody loves to do something themselves stupid, look at me. And I was saw statistics out there that I was doing research for my thesis. 55% of people on Instagram alone, they're portraying the life they are not living. That's come directly from metadata from Facebook, because they're following what they're deleting, what they're posting, anything else. But you're consistent, and that's what is your interview today with me today is gonna save many lives. Now, after you've done all these stupid things, obviously, go for many years, there comes to the point, when you're 25 now. I understand you're single as well. We'll come to this a little bit later. But 2 years ago, you stop being detrimental to yourself. I'll try to find proper word. You not bring yourself down. So 2 years ago, you decided that it's enough to hurt yourself, forgive yourself, and rebuild yourself. With the podcast obviously started, everything else. What was a moment when you say, enough of the rubbish I'm taking into my body, I need to live my life? What was the point when you said to yourself, Jake, I had enough. I want to one day be like Mario Bekes. So like, what's happened in your life when you decide to say it's enough?
It's a good question. I've gone through many waves since, I guess, my first time of experimentation of drugs and alcohol to the point I'm at now, which has been 2 years sober and with no plan on going back to any substance.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm congratulating you. Takes a lot of balls for this, seriously.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I'd say everything kind of came in different waves. There was the biggest moment in which I decided enough's enough was the final cutout, which was alcohol. So everything I kind of slowly cut out one by one. And came from usually a point in which I was sick of feeling so sorry for myself. So there's this great quote that says, true growth comes from recognizing you're tired of your own shit. And I resonate with that 100%.
Do you mind to say this one more time? The true, sorry, it's again.
True growth comes from recognizing you're tired of your own shit. Because it's only not wanting the moment you're in and wanting more that's going to make you want to go forward in life. And when I'll use hungover as a good example, but whether you're coming off a bender or you're scat or you're hungover or you're down the dumps or you've spent all your money on a crazy weekend, whatever it is, but there's always a point in which it's like I'm so over my current situation that I don't know if everything I've done for the last week has been fun or not. So there was a lot of those moments, and what helped me a lot, to be honest, was I got into a relationship with a girl who was very much so what I was like at that time. Okay. But I gained a lot of feelings for her very quickly and fell in love, and we had a nice relationship, but she was a party animal for sure. And because I could see firsthand what I was like, because I could see what she was like, it made me want her life to be different. So I tried to set an example for her by cutting out drugs in the first place. So I cut out all drugs from that point forward, and it was just alcohol and a little bit of drugs here and there. But I wanted to show her that we don't have to be doing this, because I had so much feelings for her. I didn't want her to jeopardize her own health, safety, or future. Yeah. And then the final time after that relationship ended was alcohol. And I looked around, and I have people in my life who alcohol's caused a lot of problems for. A lot of my friends are using alcohol for the wrong reasons as well. And that time was another example of like, man, I'm going to try and show other people that we don't need to be drinking alcohol. We can enjoy our lives and have just as much fun and meet just as many people and get through life probably better if we cut this out. So the original point in which my decision was to prove that it can be done, not just to myself, but for other people as well, to be honest.
It takes a lot of understanding the loving yourself and life to do what you did. Everybody can cut anything in their life if they want it. I'm just going to use an example. 2 years ago, I went for the trip with my son. I was like, he's 22 years old. And I said to him, Mateo, I'd like you to come with me back to my old home. I want to show you where I was born, where I grew up, where I was wounded once, twice, 3 times, whatever it is, meet my son, friends, this and that. First of all, he was hesitating because, he loves Australia. He doesn't love to travel and all these things, but, old man. And I remember I was on a plane with him and I felt ill. Not physically, but something was wrong with me. And he says to me in Dubai, we were sitting next to the pool, and he says to me, Dad, why don't you stop smoking? I said, man, I love smoking, man. I love smoking, right? He says to me, I think that's what makes you sick, actually. So physically I was okay, but I wasn't okay. And it was hard to stop, but I stopped. Like literally. I realized that it's enough. 30 years of smoking, it's a long time. Plus, I'm feeling that it's time to stop. I think that was the moment I need to stop. If I continue, it's going to go, literally 6 feet under, right? I think that was my sort of evaluation of my life. And you've done this as well at age 23. And it's hard, but I think that we are sometimes with who are we surrounded with. Do you agree with that?
100%. They say you're a product of the 5 people you spend your most time with. I didn't agree with it for a while. I felt like we are a product of everyone we've ever encountered. If everyone that I can possibly meet, there's things that I want to be more like them or things that I don't want to be like them. So we're a product of every interaction we ever have. But recently, after spending more and more time with my mum, dad, brother, sister, and a couple of my close friends, now I'm really my circle's really shrinking intentionally. I'm realizing we all have the same mannerisms. We all say the same jokes. We all make each other laugh in the same kind of comedy. So we really are a product of our 5 environment, yeah.
You remind me of somebody I will use this opportunity to say publicly. I'm going to introduce you to somebody who influenced my life several years ago. His name is Professor Clive Smallman. Very educated person. He's, down-to-earth guy, and who told me that I should start writing books and educating myself. And I say, Clive, English is my 5th language. Everybody makes fun of me. I'm barely running my business, this and that. And he told me one other thing, what you said right now. It's not what we are by nature, but by nurture.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. Yeah, for sure.
And you just said this, if you are 20 years old guy and you surround yourself with people who love to drink and party and everything else, I think that your nutritional breakfast is going to be first of life the McDonald's, right? Because that's what you're going to wake up in the morning semi-drunk and go in the markets to have the breakfast. So what was the hardest part for you to stop taking the drugs, the alcohol?
I'd say for every substance was a different challenge, necessarily. I did a lot of partying, I guess you could say, when I was younger, whether it would be by myself.
Who wouldn't? I mean, like, if I was your age, I'll do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say probably prescription drugs is always the hardest one for me. It's all because it's literally the most craziest chemical compound a doctor and a science. It's medically made for you to get hooked on it, basically. Instead of it just being a backyard thing like most uppers or cocaine or things like this. Like they're all usually made in a bush. These drugs are made by scientists to try and get people
in the
stuff.
white suits, yeah.
Yeah. So that was always the hardest one for me. Sleepless nights, that's for sure. Or it might just be kind of solitude suffering, I guess, was the only way to get through that. But alcohol is probably the biggest one for most people to try and kick out of their lives because it's legal. It's so commonly used by so many people. The hardest part was having the belief. No, the easiest part, was having the belief. The hardest part was proving that to myself. I knew when I started, I'm like, 12 months. That's what I'm going to do.
Belief was the easiest. Sorry. Belief was easiest part, but making that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us more. Tell us more, Jake. Educate us, you know what I mean?
I set myself a goal. Whenever I need to accomplish anything, if I give myself a X amount of whatever it needs to be, I can see that in the foreseeable future and I can head towards that. Whether it be I want to be able to lift this much in the gym or whether I want to run this far. It's up to me how fast how easy I can get that done. But for me, I said 12 months, no sip of alcohol. That's what I'm going to do. And because I had that, I could plan the craziest night out after those 12 months. I could say, after these 12 months, I'm going to indulge in. This is what I'm going to do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. I'll just set myself this challenge for 12 months. And then I knew what was going to happen, which did happen. By the end of the 12 months, it was like, man, I've gone this far. Do I really want to break my streak? I feel great. Life's going forward so much faster. I'm up earlier, getting more stuff done. I'm saving more money. I'm having better conversations with people. I'm not forgetting things on nights out. Everything was moving forward. So at the end of the 10, 11, 12 months point, it was like 2 years. After 2 years, I'll have that crazy night out. Just keep setting myself this goal. And the hardest part in the beginning was like the 21st birthdays, the weddings, the work Christmas parties. Like those moments were the challenge because it's like alcohol is liquid courage. Everyone drinks it. Most people drink it to loosen the hairs on their necks. They stand up a little bit easier and you're a bit more confident. You can say what you want to say and not feel pressure and stress. So the hardest part was telling myself I have to be the same person I am when I'm drinking as when I'm not. And I had no excuse. I couldn't be that friend that was like, guys, I'm going to go home. I'm not feeling it. Because I'm lucky enough to have a big amount of people in my life. My friend circle is pretty large. If I'm now the boring guy and no longer the party guy, I'm going to lose everyone in my life. I'm very codependent like that. So I had to just make sure whatever I wanted to do, whatever I wanted to say, any girl that I can see, I have to go up to. I had to push myself to be the drunk version of myself when I was sober. So that's why.
So when you are when you done all this, tell me something. The people you used to be associate yourself with when you're partying and all around partying, when they see you today, how they perceive you? They say like, Jake, come on, I'm not one drink. Oh, Jake, don't be pussy, Jake. Don't be, I mean, is that what's happened?
That definitely happened a lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
That definitely happened a lot. Now I have a good relationship with a lot of my friends who are like, some of them do it to be funny. If I was to pick up a drink and go to drink it, they would be like, yo. Like, they would get that little bit of pride, like, I broke him, he was about to do it. But I know they're just doing it for a comedic effect. I'm very fortunate that I'd say 80% of the people, or maybe closer to 70% of the people who I knew in that phase of my life, everyone's kind of grown up together. A lot of people, not everyone's gone sober, not everyone's completely cut out drugs and alcohol from their life, but everyone is growing up and making good advancements in life. And there's only been a very few amount of people that are still stuck in that negative spiral of week to week paycheck, just looking for the next fix, just trying to get high any way they can, anytime they can. There's only a very few, but I'd say most people come from a point of like, congratulations. You know, I guess I'm very fortunate in that sense. Not many people are trying to tear me down, and the ones that are, I'm pretty quick to notice and just stop associating.
I'll tell you something again, because I'm older than you. It doesn't matter what I did in my life, you know, because I was the guy who was, most of my life, I was chasing others. You know what I mean? I want to be part of that group. I want to be with that girl. And then I realized, actually, it doesn't matter what I do, I never will fit into that group, right? And that was defeating for me. Then I realized that I need to do something for myself, with myself. And when you reach the bottom of your life, you know, except if you have a shovel and dig deeper, you know that you need to do something for yourself. Most of people, they dig deeper and they don't see the light. What you did, you now inspired, I believe, thousands of young men that they can do it with their life. Because my next question is a very specific question. Why you are planning your life? Why did you say, screw it, you know, world is bad place to live, aliens are coming, you know, the Joe Biden's going to be president, whatever, you know what I mean, something. Why didn't you give up on idea to make your life better? Instead of this, you push yourself to organize your life, do something very, very brave, the podcasting, and meeting new people, because through podcasting you meeting new people and new stories. Why didn't you give up? Okay, let's go make it simple. Everybody's now watching your age, 25 years old. They don't know what they're going to do. They're lost in their life. Tell them why they need to live their life as you organizing your life.
I don't know if everyone has this same thought pattern as I do. I feel like I have a big imagination, you know. I'm very blessed. I think, and I don't want to be rude, but some people I interact with in real life, whether they're my friends or not, like, I just don't think they dream very big, you know, because they don't live a life that shows that they want more out of their life. But I dream for an amazing future for myself. I dream for success and money, and not even necessarily fame, but definitely like a good network of people we can go through, and big family, big kids, big house. Like I want a lot out of life. And I think that if someone has this same mindset, it's their responsibility to go get this.
Yeah.
If everything that exists, and this is what I've been thinking of lately, everything that ever exists was once an idea. Without that idea, we wouldn't have this microphone, these cameras, these chairs to sit on, the shoes on our feet. Everything is only responsible because of the idea. And that person that had the idea was probably given a gift from the universe or God or themselves, or however they want to look at it. They were given the gift of bringing this thing to life. If we can imagine and have been blessed with our gifts of our own futures and the lives we can live, it's our job to make that happen. No one's going to make that life happen for us, and that life won't exist if we aren't the ones to go forward to make that life happen, you know? So I think that if you can imagine it and you can dream it, you have to do it. It's your job. It's your responsibility, because you'd hate, and I think it's David Goggins who said this. He said when he dies, he's scared that when he dies, he's going to meet the judge in the end, and he's going to hold up a piece of paper and it's going to say everything that he was meant to do, everything that he was given I don't know if he said the gift of dreaming, but everything that was part of his plan. And if he wasn't the guy who broke the world record of push-ups, or he wasn't the guy who ran the furthest ultramarathon and things like this, then he's going to say, why did you waste this opportunity that I gave you? You know, I could have given this opportunity to someone else. So I kind of look at a lens similar to that, you know. If I've been given these opportunities, grateful gifts of dreaming and imagining and almost a desire that I expect it, I have to go forward and get it. It's my responsibility.
I never expected our interview today is going to go that path. You know, I always use myself for example, regardless that's a good example, bad example, rather than to say like somebody else. But I said to people, be careful what you wish for, because the dreams come true. And I know that I always want to be soldier, become a soldier. I want to have the war. I want to be the Rambo thing. War happened to me 5 years in a war, like it's a hell. Then I said I want to be spy, and I become the spy working for intelligence. I want to have my business one day. That didn't happen overnight. It was like, before people would take the photos and they had a photo album, right? And then family comes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, wedding, click, funeral, click. It was like,
Yeah.
But there's a story between the images. Same with my life, in your life as well. Nothing happened overnight. But the thing is, you today said something what most of people would like to believe, but they have no faith in not themselves, but that will happen. Because for things to happen takes time. And now I say from my distance, what you said, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And I'm congratulating you for having the voice in this world, because it's the only time when we can see, it's when we close our eyes. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And speak on this note as well, I've been kind of thinking about this as well.
Please share with us.
If I'm a believer, I believe in a God. I don't fall under any religion necessarily, just not because I don't agree with what they say. I just agree with so much of all religions that it's hard for me to pick one, because it's like I kind of see the same message being repeated a lot of times. So I do believe in a God, and I feel like I say the words like gifts and gratitude and blessed because I genuinely feel like they are a gift to me from any form of higher consciousness.
Yes.
But when we close our eyes, we are able to imagine and dream and pursue. And we are kind of setting ourselves a final destination by doing so. And it's good because it helps guide us to where we want to go. But we should also stay open-minded at the same time, because we are limiting our own future by dreaming at the same time. Because we can only dream a certain end result. But if we just stay open through our process and the doors that open in front of us, we take our opportunities, we say yes to things like that. If a camera gets turned on, just say something for the first time. Like, if it might not be part of your plan, but I believe God has a overall final great grand scheme for us all. And don't say no to things necessarily. Like, as long as you're staying true to your path and it's not going to jeopardize it, allow things to add addition on top of it, because the God can probably see a lot bigger than what we can see. So even though we can only see with our eyes closed, I feel like that's only limited at the end of the day,
Sometimes I'm thinking myself, I'm listening to myself. I was an altar boy, and I was only reason why I was an altar boy because I ran into church because I was hiding from police, and priest shielded me. Anyway, long story short, believing in God, I truly believe that there's something, that the energy, whatever it is, you are absolutely spot on, Jake. There's a message go across this globe in different shapes, size, or form, and words, but it's always the same. The church is just a place, it doesn't matter. The shrine, we want a mosque, whatever you want to call, but the people go and try to, heal themselves, with the praise and everything else. But you're absolutely right there. I think that most of young people, guys, you should take this advice. I try to find proper words. Usually interviewing people who are close to my age, and it's different conversations, right? But when you have a 25 years old like yourself who understand the life and world as you do, makes the perfect sense. I know now from my perspective that world has a future. I'm very serious. I'm serious that people like you is going to make a future, for this world. Because after all, hope is the one thing we can get, we can acquire, and can be taken away from us. Only if we allow this one. So tell us more, like, now when you run your podcast, when you talk to other people, how do you feel with your story? Like, you interview on these interesting people and hear their story. How do you feel then? You say like, oh, my life was good or bad? Or
it's very mixed, Like, I feel like sometimes, like recently I sat down with a lad and he explained to me his childhood and things like this, and it was a good representation to be like, if you're going to compare, if I'm going to naturally compare, which I try not to, but I do, I think to myself, man, I'm very fortunate to have a different life than this guy has. And then some people, like the same day I had an interview where a guy told me about his childhood, and I thought to myself, like, damn, this guy had a pretty crazy childhood, an awesome life, you know? So it's always mixed, and I'd say that the most interesting thing I've found about hosting is that I have so much to learn from everyone, no matter what type of life they've lived or childhood they've lived. My goals in the beginning was like, I can't wait to sit down with the biggest rappers in Australia or the biggest internet superstars and TV personalities, but I don't think I even care anymore. Like every single person I meet has so much value to bring, you know, and I think there's no difference between getting the biggest superstar that we've got here in Australia or getting like just one of my friends that I met at the barbershop, you know, like I think they have just as much to bring. Which is what's been the best part of doing it. Yeah.
Look, I like it. I like it. Your way, your podcast is very casual. It's a better flowing conversation, I think, because most of people. One thing what I like about you, and I always use opportunity to say this thing, when people talk about what to do, why to do, I can understand. But most of the public speakers and most of the business coaches or life coaches which I'm meeting, and you know, I congratulate them on their biggest bullshit on they try to sell to people. The one thing most of people are missing, and that is how to do it. You demonstrated today. Do you understand? In my books, that puts you in 1% of the people are going to say, I'll reach Jake to ask him for the opinion, how to solve the problem, because he done this, he knows how to do it. Because everybody loves to talk. Or, you know, wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and, you know, grab the life. And it's all this, you know, I'm just like, come on, stop it. If I ask most of people, did you done it? They don't know. But you know how you did it. Because you said to yourself 2 years ago, I'll do 12 months, then I'm going to a big party, but I'm going to stop doing this, and this, and this. You sacrificed all these friendships, literally sacrificed it because you build them over the years, and you say like, I can be without this because this brings me down. Jake, no people say these things. No people do these things because it's hard. You choose to be hard. Do you understand? You need to give yourself so much credit, honestly, because you choose to demonstrate to all of us that it's impossible, it's possible.
Thank you. I think that the only way to get to a better place is to eat shit. You know, I sat down with a guy named
Please.
This guy I met, Joshua Saunders. So shout out to Joshua Saunders. He's come on the podcast a couple of times. Big jiu-jitsu community. Everyone knows him in the jiu-jitsu community. He's doing leaps and bounds for Australia in that field. But he's when I asked him a question like, you know, what makes you different than most people in your field? He told me that I got used to eating shit sandwiches. No one wants to eat shit, but I enjoy the flavor. And I was like, man.
I like it. It's like, I just like, say again, he says to like, I love to eat shit, I love to taste the flavor, because why?
Because like, eat shit.
That's a powerful word, mate. Okay, metaphorically speaking, of course. You know what I mean?
Metaphorically speaking, but he said it in such a good way that never left me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many cliche things that always come to my head when it comes to it. Like nothing good comes easy. And I always tell myself, if it's easy, it's not worth doing in the first place. And you know, I believe in the God and devil, yin yang side of things too. So there's going to be temptation when it comes to persistency.
Absolutely.
Like I believe in all these things. So the only way to get to where you got to go is kind of like syphilis, where he pushes the boulder up the hill every single day. Like it was a struggle. I think it was syphilis he did it, but he would push this boulder up this mountain every single day until it would get to the top, and then he would let it go and it would roll all the way back down again.
Sisyphus, that's it.
That's it. And it wasn't necessarily the pushing of the boulder that was getting him, that the overall story wasn't that he was pushing the boulder and he was going through hardship and he was getting to his final thing and then starting again. It was more like he started to enjoy pushing the boulder, you know, and that's kind of what life becomes. As soon as you start to cut out some of the things that you're finding your enjoyment from, you'll start to enjoy the other things as well. I enjoy the mindless editing for 10 hours a day, or the working overnight, or I enjoy the waking up early, I enjoy these things. This has now become my new addictions. Everything that I was involved in before, It's
That's
like
a good addiction.
My life isn't suffering. Like a lot of people think, oh, I wouldn't want to be working that much or trying that hard or putting myself through so many tedious little things. Like I think you would. You just have to start doing it. You'll find reasons to enjoy it while you're doing it. Life is, no matter how bad a situation is, you'll still find reasons to enjoy it if you want to. Yeah.
Jake, you know, like, I believe that, you know, I can't make a prophecy now because it's too early today. It's Saturday morning. But, you know, by Monday I'm going to figure out. But one thing I can say clearly, you should consider to create a book. When you make the podcast episode, you know, what do you do? It's actually, you're creating the future. You see, with our existence on planet Earth, we are history, because every day we are alive, we're creating history. But what you're creating with podcast, it's a future, because every time when you put those thoughts out and people listen and are educating themselves, they're creating the future.
I love that.
Yeah, well, that's just my opinion. I mean, so, but the thing is, I truly believe that you should, and I always say to people, make the legacy, because I think that our purpose on planet Earth, it is the legacy. You should make the book. Maybe not now. If I done 9 books, and you can do it as well. I read so many books on the market, and one book I always said, this book, I don't even know this guy called the Paul Hanna, you know. And 15 years ago, I was so depressed. I was so miserable, man. And my marriage was gone down. You know, I mean, my kid was diagnosed with epilepsy. I blamed everybody, even you. I didn't even know you. Like everybody was. I blamed everybody for my faults. I walk in a library. I never read books in my life. I hated school. You know, I was thinking I know everything. That book somehow appears in front of me called "You Can Do It." Paul Hanna, Aussie writer, right? That book changed my life. You, my friend, you have a task, you have a job. So no prophecy, you have a job. That's what's happened to you. Now you're telling me today, you gave me hope. You should give that hope to everybody on paper. One person's going to read, is going to say, he did it, I can do as well.
I love that. I've always wanted to write a book one day. It's always been a goal in the back of my head. You know, I used to have questions on the podcast all the time, like, would you rather do this, or would you rather direct a movie or write a book, or would you rather... There used to be random questions I would ask when I was learning how to do the podcast. And yeah, write a book's always stood out to me. I think I feel like because I am meeting someone new every week, there is a lot of information that is coming towards me. Wisdom, advice, you know, it could be stories of people who have done the wrong thing and learned from their mistakes, or people who are just going to be trying out something new for the first time. They'll come and share it with me, and it's kind of like a lot of information. Like it's almost like I should write something. If I was to write a book, I've kind of already thought of the title. I'd like to write a book called Not My Story, and it's everything that I've learned about everyone else I've ever met to help make the best idealistic outcome, you know? But I'm nowhere near ready yet, because at the moment I'm in the origin stories, you know, not with just myself, but everyone and I had this epiphany maybe 2 or 3 times since episode 1. I got friends who, in the first 50, 60 episodes of the podcast, shout out to my friends. Like, they gave me every episode. It was someone new every single week that I just keep, all right, you're coming on next, you're coming on next, you're coming on next. And it really gave me the confidence and the skills I needed to be online, talking, asking conversations, flow of conversations. I learned all the skills through the people I love. And then through doing that, I found that, like, one friend might be an aspiring lawyer who's crushing it in her field, or one friend might be a paramedic who's going through the training facilities, and some friends are interested in music, or some friends are interested in fighting, things like this. And they are all doing really well, and I can hear the passion inside their fields, and I realized I'm in everyone's origin story. You know, that's a crazy thing, because everyone I look to, whether it be older generations or internet or TV or movies, like, everyone is this thing. Everyone's a superstar. Like, we don't go on Instagram and follow someone for their journey from normal everyday person to internet personality. We follow someone who's already made it. And it was a mad realization, like, man, I'm meeting the people who are going to become successful, going to become great, going to be doing amazing things. And that's all I'm trying to do now. I'm just absorbing everyone's information along the way, trying to sit down with people every couple of years, hear what they've learned so far. And then maybe one day when I'm older, try and squeeze that into a bit of a book with all the
Do you
all the
think it's
keys.
coincidence that you are that one who is actually done 97 stories so far? Do you think that's coincidence?
Nah, I don't believe in the word coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence, yeah. I think
Podcasting, it's demanding job. People think it's just, oh, let's go. Jake and I talking like, oh, bro, there's even podcasters where there's a lot of entertainment because there's a two type podcasters people are chasing. That's entertainment, a lot of jokes, everything else. Like my son, he all this, he watching this on YouTube where the guys playing the video game for 6 hours and they're commenting. I said to him, what is there? I said, you don't understand. Okay, maybe. And there's educational things which you are editing or producing, anything else. So it's not coincidence. You see what you said with that passion and so much energy. You said, I'm meeting with people who do train for paramedics, right? People have no idea what paramedics are going through. The lawyers, this is not a show, Law and Order. This is real life. Real people in the courtroom. So it's not coincidence.
Yeah. I've kind of just, if it's a coincidence, like it's just a word that we've used to describe something else, like a gift or destiny or something like that. Like coincidence where things just happen to be the way they are. I don't like that word.
No.
I like the idea of where everything happens due to a reaction that we've done. We are
Yes.
responsible for our outcomes, or it was meant to happen in the first place for us, for something later, I don't like the word coincidence. I'm more like destiny or repercussions. I like those words instead, yeah.
Look, it's easy to say that word coincidence because people understand, can relate. There's a word you heard, abandonment, being abundant, right? People using this because if somebody, it's fluctuating different directions. It's like to be alone, but there's as well abandonment can be used for the saints. So people don't understand fully words. They just throwing them because they think that's a meaning there. They're relating their alter ego. That's the reason why the actors ever see how the actors get enrolled.
Kind of. I have some friends who are aspiring actors, so I see a little bit behind the scenes of it, yeah.
Yeah. So when there's advertising for the role, they don't say who they want to see because they need to match. So basically, bottom line is this. When you see George Clooney can't play any roles. He can do some type comedian, some type, thinker, or Brad Pitt, these things. They're matching the role to alter ego. So that's the internal cry. You, my friend, your alter ego says you need to make this world a better place. Seriously, that screams out of you. I want to make this world a better place. And I truly believe you will. Now, before we wind up, let me talk about two things. You said working night shift, podcast, and then as well, there's a bridge between those two worlds that you're building your business. So you're working night shift, like it's hard, it's difficult, podcasting on Mondays, and then you're doing your business. Where's the energy come from?
Again, I guess it comes down to that feeling of greed, like that's just like,
Okay.
I hear people say like you have to sacrifice some things to get what you want, and I understand that, but if you really want that thing, I don't think you should sacrifice. I think sacrifice comes from a place of you don't need this in your life, You have to sacrifice toxic things. You have to sacrifice substances or a toxic woman, or you have to sacrifice junk food or sacrifice momentary indulgences, That's not real happiness. Like I think that I'm not willing to sacrifice owning my own business like entrepreneur, working for someone else and having a stable income and chasing my dreams at the same time. They're things that I want. So I'm not going to sacrifice. And that gives me all the energy I need. Like I really want them. So it doesn't feel like a challenge. The challenge is like, man, I can't. Later tonight, I have to go home and chase up this customer, or I have to wake up early and prepare for this. I was like, while I'm thinking about the next task, it's like, man, like I don't want to be doing that. I just want a second to breathe. But as soon as I start, whatever it is, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy what I do. Yeah.
Do you know, which now it's related to my second question, being single, but you already answer. So, to all guys and girls there who listen in this interview, even the people like myself, senior citizens, because the only reason why now I'm senior citizen, I received maybe a few months ago the government package on my doorstep, and he says for senior citizens, like, what is this? It's you need to do the scoop your bowel, and and send for analysis. I was like, why is that? He said, but GP says, well, it's a senior citizen. So I'm just 50 years old, man. He's laughing. So jokes aside, but you are saying today something very, very interesting that most of people need to sit. And I was observing you while you're replying those answers. You've been in relationships where the relationships actually brought you down. Then you step it out, finding the answers how you could become better you. And now you are working night shifts, you're doing on your business and podcasting. And in our conversation, I learned that you're single. Now, do you understand that this interview right now is going to attract very interesting women in your life? Because there's some women there. I don't know, Steve was laughing and Steve was in background. But thing it is, you're going to attract the women who wants the man who knows what they want from their life. Now, 2 years single? Why?
I'm not 2 years single by the moment. I'm
okay,
not.
I'll just...
sorry. I'm just...
Ladies, it's not 2 years. I just invented, but okay.
Yeah, so I have just been recently out of a long-term relationship, actually, in the last few months. And
so you're single?
That's single at the moment, sorry.
Not 2 years, a couple months, okay? That's the same thing.
yeah. And sorry, I think I did cut you off by accident. I don't remember the full length of the question. I don't remember what you asked.
Okay, so my question is, why did you decide to stay single?
Okay.
You could run into a new relationship.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing I do with alcohol. I like to give myself a challenge for a certain amount of time. So out of my relationship a few years ago, I told myself for 12 months, no girls at all. Do not waste any time. Do not shoot any messages.
I'm going to put his contact details. I need to put your details anyway. So I'm sorry, Jake.
It's fine. But I do this every time. So I'll set myself no girls for 12 months. And then once that 12 months is up, I'll tell myself all right, I'm back on the market. First girl that comes my way, I usually start dating her straight away.
Okay.
It's been like that my whole life. I might say to my mate one night, I feel like getting a girlfriend again. He's like, yeah, sweet. And we look around on a night out. That girl? Yep, sweet. And then I'll date that girl for 2 years. That's pretty much how it goes. That's pretty much how it goes. But at the moment where I am in my life, have recently come out of a bit of a long-term, maybe year so relationship. I realised that I would love to have a companion along this journey. It would be awesome. And I have thought for a while that, girls just want the guy who's made it all, I have had a bit of a
Tell me more about this. What do you think what the girls wants?
I have had this toxic view for a while, and it was that I had a bit of trust issues when it comes to past relationships. I thought girls only want the guy who's made it. They want the money, they want the success, they want all this stuff. And I recently realised that it's not that in what a girl is after if it's a real girl. There's obviously toxic women out there, but a real girl wants a guy who's become that man. They want a guy who's gone through the hardship, gone through the suffering, and learnt what it takes to be a certain type of individual. And someone said this to me recently, if I gifted you $20 million, you would probably go broke. But if you earned that $20 million, you'd be able to keep it because you know what it's like to have it.
You're spot on.
So I think that's kind of how I look at what women subconsciously, whether they know it or not, do look at men in that regard, where they don't want the $20 million necessarily. They want to know what it's like to be able to maintain $20 million. And whether that comes with budgeting or whether that comes with sacrificing or whatever that might come with, but that's the actual key value. It's who you've become along the process. And where I am in my life, I've tried to be in relationships recently, and what I've learned is it's not easy to be with someone who wants so much out of life. I say these things, and if I'm with a girl, I love that girl entirely. She's my entire existence. I'll build a future with her.
I love your smile on your face. Yes,
I've always been a big lover in that regard, but for what I want out of life now, I can't sacrifice anything. I don't have much free time. And for someone, if I was to get into a relationship, they'd have to know that you'll be important, but you might not feel important because there's so much that I have to do. I'm not going to be there for dinner. We're never going to have a lifestyle that's like 6 p.m. we have dinner every night together, or every Sunday we do this, or my life is demanding. You know, I'd love someone to spend time with, but I'm just, at the moment where I am in life, I'm not available time-wise.
Did you ever watch the movie called The Whiplash?
No, I haven't.
You reminded me of the main actor, and you're absolutely right. I'm inviting everybody who didn't watch it. It's called The Whiplash. It's a truly amazing story, and you reminded me of the main actor, right? To the point where he was seeing that girl, and they have the dinner, and he said to her, "Look, I need to be honest with you. I can't see you anymore." She's questioning why it's wrong, something with me. She was pretty. She's smart, everything else. He says, "When I'm with you, I think about my drumming." So he's a drummer. "When I having sex with you, I think about my drumming. When I wake up in the morning, you are still there. I think I'm gonna be late my drumming." So he says, "I want to be the best drummer on the planet, and you are my obstacle." So it's, but he said this in a nice way, and she understood. She tried to support him, but he was just moving away. I say something from my experience: women can bring you up or bring you down, right? There's no two different things, right? Man is not a hunter, woman is a hunter. Because I want you to remember something from my experience. Doesn't matter how much we men chasing women says yes or no, ultimately. So man is like, yeah, whatever, dude. Alpha male, don't worry for the alpha males. If you everybody worry about alpha male, you saw my podcast before. I saw many alpha males in my life, and when the war started, they were holding mommy's undies and run away. You're the hero in this story. Jake, you are. On this podcast today, I learned quite a lot. And, I'm 51 years old, and I think myself, what I can improve based on what you're saying. And I think myself, I didn't try this and that. So, you are an honest man who says openly honest, and I truly believe that's going to be trigger for many women. Now you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in
I
trouble.
might have to get an assistant then.
Yeah, that's the truth. But look, I truly believe that there's a person there out for you who's going to understand and be your biggest, rocket engine in your ass and push you in orbit, you know what I mean? Because you already been with somebody who brought you down. That's what you don't need. So thank you for sharing this with me today. But tell me before we go, gym, you doing gym?
Yeah, I try to go as much as possible, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I try to go as much as possible. At the moment, it's about 3 to 4 times a week, but I'd like to go more. Yeah, I'm addicted to health, to be honest. Anything that can make me feel better, I'm addicted to it. Sauna, gym, running, swimming, whatever I can do makes me feel better.
So if people want to come in touch with you, how they can find you? I know I'm going to put a comment section below your details, but where they can find you, how they can support your podcast. Guys, give all your love and support to Jake for his podcast, please.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. But I think my podcast is basically a self-development journey. That's the niche market I'm trying to orchestrate. Like, I'm trying to learn as much as I can with as many interesting people, and I get to share that experience. So if people want to join me for that journey, I guarantee people will be able to meet new people, make new friends, and whether it be through the internet or not. So if people want to find my podcast, it's at the Doxcast on YouTube or at the Doxcast on Instagram. It's as easy as that.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest in studio today, Jake. I'm going to put in the comment section below again all his details, how you can reach him. I truly want you to listen to this podcast a few times. Give him love and support for his podcast. If you have any questions how Jake can assist you and help you, feel free. And as well, if you have an interesting story, you think that Jake podcast, it will be Doxcast, will be host for you, feel free to reach him. So Jake, thank you much for being my guest today on Saturday.
No, thank you very much for giving me this. I've had a great conversation with you today. It's
thank you,
been awesome.
Jake. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.